One of my absolute favorite things to do when working on cars is to weld, and I have been getting better and better over time, and today we're going to be practicing more welding on the Barra. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're having an awesome day. Today's plan is to get the Barra back in the EF Falcon and also plumb up the turbo lines for the coolant. So we need to figure that out, and the reason why we're welding today is because we need to figure out how to get a coolant source to the back end of this turbo and the inline bit of this turbo, so in and out essentially. I'll move the Barra over to here so you can see it a little bit better, but I am extremely excited to, weld on these things that we have from Raceworks, which I'll show you in a bit. I just showed you an empty container, lol. Yeah, let's get this video started. Shout out to Raceworks. Raceworks have been hooking it up for this build. We have a bunch of Raceworks stuff on the Barra. 100% of these fittings that are going to go on the Barra will be supplied by Raceworks. You can see we also even have the fuel rail and 1200cc injectors already installed. I did that off camera the other day, but you can see that's also a Raceworks billet fuel rail. And we also have a bunch of fittings, which I've already gone ahead and started to use. We also have some lines as well that we need to put fittings on, which I've already done on one of them. You can see, I'll show you how to do that when we get to that. So on a factory turbo Barra engine, there are going to be two locations where coolant can go in and out from the turbo. However, this is a BF gas engine, so there are no spots at all for a turbo because, of course, from factory, this engine does not come out with a turbo. So we need to figure out where we're going to mount the two coolant lines, and we're pretty much going to get the sources for coolant from the exact same locations of the turbo Barra from factory. So on a turbo Barra, there are two locations. The first location is here for the oil feed. There's like a 90-degree bend that comes off this coolant line, and it's routed through here with a hard line directly to the turbo. The next spot is just behind the water pump right here. Don't know if you can see this line. That one right there, but there's a little fitting that comes off this as well, and that will be the coolant out from the turbo. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, going to grab this fitting. This is an AN6 weld-on steel bung. We're pretty much going to drill a hole and weld this onto this coolant line right there. Now this is the welding that I was talking about. It's going to be kind of challenging because you can see it's kind of thick, and this is going to be, pretty thin steel. So I'm excited to give this a go, and I also need to do it on the other side as well. So I'm going to take this coolant line off, but first I'm going to mark where I think the coolant line is going to come off, and we are going to begin welding. Alright, we have done it. We've created a hole. It's a pretty big hole in this coolant pipe right here, and it's definitely going to be difficult to try to weld this fitting onto this because, you can see it's got a small gap on these sides, whereas the gap here is quite large, so we're gonna have to put a lot of steel right into there, and hopefully not overheat this thing and melt through, but look at that. Fits like a glove. Let's begin welding. So one of the most important things to do when you're welding and before you start welding is the prep work. So you got to make sure that everything is clean, make sure that there is no foreign material anywhere, and that's exactly what we've done. I've used the wire wheel on the drill to make sure that I've got rid of all the contaminants, and I'm like 99% sure this is steel, or mild steel hopefully, because it's magnetic. So if this is not steel, then we're going to have an issue trying to weld steel onto aluminium, but I don't think it's aluminium. We're just going to go ahead and send it and see what happens. So get the welder pumping, get the gas going. There we go. Still a decent amount of gas. And for this, we're gonna go DC, and the amps down all the way to about 50, I reckon. Alright guys, well here are my welds. Not incredible, but the only side that you'll really see is that side. Oh man! Just freaking burnt myself. I was trying to put my hand behind the camera. That's the side you'll see. Again, not the best welds, but should hold and hopefully won't leak. Gonna chuck this on now and fit this all up. All right, so we have the coolant inline installed. It's all nice. What we're gonna do is now fit up this line, and then we're gonna chop it exactly where we would need to for this turbo right here. So I'm gonna have to take the turbo off and put the banjo fitting on this side to make sure that we've got enough line. And I know my mistake now, looking at the welds and reminiscing on what just happened over there, I wasn't using enough heat. So I'd come across, do a pass, and it just wasn't penetrating enough. So I had to redo it and go over it again and again. So that's why it looks like that. But note taken for the outline, which we'll do soon. So let's fit up this line and figure out what's going on. That took a little bit of time because these Allen keys are really small and the bolts on the back are absolutely microscopic. So I had to use my adjustable spanner right there because the kit doesn't have a small enough bit. It's like almost a 2mm piece. Managed to route the coolant line. We've got a banjo bolt down in there. Look how sick this looks. I'm super stoked right now. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut the line. We've only got one chance of this, so I'm gonna try to do it as best as possible. I'm gonna wrap some tape around it, then I've got the angle grinder over there. I'm just gonna send it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So unfortunately we got a bit of a fray happening here, but hopefully I can fit this around that. But you really don't want any sort of fray, so try to get that all taped down. Yeah, that sort of works. Fitting over everything. Come on. There we go. The next thing we're gonna do is insert this little metal piece over the PTFE right there. Just gonna push it down. Ooh, be careful not to prick yourself. That's looking half decent. Oh man, that was a big prick. Ooh. And now we're gonna slide this up and over, just like that. And I believe when you tighten down these two fittings, it'll bring everything and squish it all together. So what I like to do, or what I did with the other fitting, got myself a brand new fresh can of CRC silicone spray. Just a light little spray, just like that, just in case. And I'm gonna stick it in here. And now we're gonna tighten this up and it should be good. All right, so we have the lines all mounted on there now. Hopefully this doesn't leak. You can see how I do it. And if I've done it wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. It fits up really nicely. You probably saw in the time lapse too that I put the water line on top of the oil line, because when I had the water line on the bottom, it was like hitting the belt, and that's why I have this on there, just to double check, but I will have to take it off again and then tighten everything up. And the next thing we need to do is drill and tap a fitting onto the back of the water line here. Potentially make up a line for this side, but I don't have the right fittings today. So we'll see what we can do, but I'm gonna try and drill and tap this line as well. I'm about to show you some of my best ever welds that I've done. So I've done plenty of pipe welding. That's kind of easy, but welding a bung is very, very difficult, especially on a pipe that's really small because there's not much room. So check this out. You see that right there? That is my AN6 male flare. Look how good those welds are. I'm super proud of them. It's in such a good location too. So the water line's gonna come off there, just underneath this thing and to the back of here. So I need to get a fitting for this, and then I need to run a line. What's really awesome as well, where I've put this, it's a really good spot. So if I ever need to service the turbo, I can easily take off this fitting, which will be, I only got one hand here. This fitting is gonna go like that. But you can see I'll have easy access with a spanner down in here, which I'm super, super proud about. That's the welding done for today. The next thing we need to do is essentially just make up the line and chuck the engine in the car. We have the Barra in the EF again, hopefully for the last ever time. I don't want to take this thing out again. It's ready to go. We got some painted mounts. You can't even really see anything because it's dark in there. Look at this. You can't even see that the timing case is painted orange from here. This is what I'm talking about. With the radiator in and the fan shroud, you're not going to be able to really see the orange at all. It's going to be subtle, which was the intention, guys. It's not an ugly color now that everything else is on there. It's looking hot with the fuel rail installed, and you can really see how nice the plenum came out with Colin, Zach's dad. His job right there from sandblasting it down, it really looks mad. Next thing we're gonna do is fit up the intercooler pipes and essentially start plumbing this thing up. So guys, it's been a few hours, and just for fun, I decided to put the intercooler pipes on and the bumper, which I already have cut up but not entirely put on yet. As you can see, still gotta chuck it on. You can see the intercooler is lipping down just a little bit. You can see a little bit of it, but it shouldn't be too bad once the car's lowered. Or if I get like a lip or something for this thing, it'll completely get rid of the intercooler showing there. But man, I'm happy with this thing. Have a sus. We've got the turbo on there. The lines, I still need to make up one more line for the coolant return, but man, this thing looks absolutely sick. The fuel rail really does complete this sort of space right there. It was really empty at the start, but it's looking mad. I do need to get some custom AC lines, and then this thing is going to be pretty much done in terms of plumbing. I am over the moon with how these fittings came out and the lines and everything. It all just sort of fits up. I really hope that this thing doesn't leak, but I'm pretty confident it won't. But I guess if I didn't do the lines properly, then we're going to find out pretty soon. Other than that, I've just been admiring this thing for the past couple of minutes or so because, oh man, I'm so excited. A few little things before we end off today's video. If you guys have been looking at stickers on the BenkeSpec.com website, they will be discontinued by the end of this week. So I'm planning to do a complete overhaul of all the stickers that are currently on the website. So every single sticker that's up there right now is going to be gone forever, never coming back. Go check out the BenkeSpec.com website, help support this build, but we're going to have new stickers next week. I'm so excited. Got a complete overhaul. Other than that, chuck us a like if you enjoy the Barra content. I absolutely am in love with this setup. Woohoo! Thing is gonna absolutely rip. Super excited, but thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I will see you in the next one. Catch you later. Look at that! Hot damn! Perfect. Like perfect.